G-Dog is Father Greg Boyle, a 37-year-old Jesuit priest in East Los Angeles. In a neighborhood that is torn with gang violence, Father Boyle has earned a measure of respect from young Latino gang members who call him by that name. He's provided jobs for them and a school. And his willingness even to walk into the line of fire to stop a gunfight, to mediate gang disputes, has made him a kind of hero to these young men who call themselves homeboys. The Dolores Mission Church, just east of downtown Los Angeles, sits in the middle of the poorest parish in the city, also one of the toughest. And it's in the grip of a disease that is killing its teenagers.
Better to the Lord today.
A disease called gangbanging, gang warfare. A disease Father Greg Boyle knows all too well.
We've had kids shot every day, every night. If they haven't actually been hit, we've had shootings every night, you know. And they need a purpose. If they have a reason to get up the next morning, they won't be out there.
And for 5 years, Father Greg Boyle has fought to give these gang members a sense of purpose, a life that won't end abruptly, like 19-year-old Richie Ortiz, shot dead by a rival gang member. Father Boyle's message to Richie's grieving homeboys, his fellow gang members, is simple.
The solution is one person saying for himself, enough is enough. I don't do this anymore. I won't do this anymore.
Why are these teenagers killing each other? Some are looking to make a reputation. Some of them pick up a gun to do it. Rebel was a shooter for the East LA Dukes.
You know, I wanted respect. You know, I didn't want anybody to mess with my neighborhood, and that's what it was all about for me.
And so violence made you a bigger man.
Yeah. Violence intimidates and brings fear into people's hearts, and that's just what it's about. One neighborhood has to overcome another by fear. Violence will do it.
That brutal code is one reason the violent death of young gang members is epidemic in LA. In the 5 years Father Boyle has worked here, he's had to bury 22 of these teenagers. And he insists the ever-rising gang violence should tell us we've been wrong in the way we deal with gang members.
Here in this city, anyway, we've got things called Operation Hammer, Crash. The Sheriff Department has a program called GET. These are all acronyms for wipe these kids out.
Really?
Yeah. And then you'll get whole communities, even churches, I'm embarrassed to say, who take on these campaigns that say, you know, take back our streets, which on the surface seems like a good idea, except that who do you think you're talking about? You're talking about kids in trouble.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. I can hear people across America saying, listen to that do-gooder. We want to take back our streets. We don't want violence. We don't want kids wandering around with guns. We don't want them selling crack. We don't want them raping or pillaging or...
Whatever. And me, less than them. I want that even less here.
So Father Boyle has taken a radically different path with the gang members in his parish.
Stay out of trouble. It's going to be a long weekend.
He believes that providing jobs and education and unconditional love, the love of a father that few of these young men have, is the best way to wean these homeboys away from gang violence. Behind the shades he declined to take off, Puppet is a member of the Clarence Street Locos.
If it wasn't for him, I'd probably been dead by now.
Without Father Greg, you'd be dead, you believe?
A lot of us would have been dead without him.
Really? Why? What does he do that...
He also has he's like a second father to lots of us. We got problems, he's always there for us. He never says no to us. We say, we gotta talk to you, G. Like, all right, I'll be there or come down. But he never says, nah, I can't talk to you right now, I'm busy. He ain't like that.
Greg Boyle was raised in a prosperous Irish Catholic family in Los Angeles. Decided to join the Jesuits.
So what you do with your paycheck, Holmes?
He didn't set out to become a homeboys priest, but he says that a year working as a priest among the poor in Latin America opened his eyes, persuaded him to come home 5 years ago, to work in the poorest parish in his own city.
All right, you guys, be careful, be careful.
What'd they think about you when you first got here, Father Greg?
Gang members?
Yeah. I mean, come on, you don't look like...
I'm a galacho, a white guy.
Right.
Yeah. Well, It was hard. I mean, I think they kind of give you this look. They're hard guys, you know.
And I was just like, man, this guy's full of it, you know. I don't want to listen to him, so I didn't listen to him till I was about 17 or 18 when
Really?
I
2, 3, 4 years
Yeah.
went by before you began to pay attention.
Yeah.
To stay out of trouble.
But Father Greg persisted with Rebel and the other gang members in his parish.
If they got shot, I'd go to the hospital. If they got locked up, I'd write them or I'd visit them in Central Juvenile Hall. So those kinds of things give you juice, and pretty soon, I had credibility.
Every day down here is a crisis. Somebody got shot, or somebody's running away from home, or somebody's pregnant. So
Mary Ridgway is the probation officer for many of these gang members, and she admires Father Greg's commitment to these kids, but she has no illusions about what some of the worst of the gang members are capable of.
They will kill anybody who gets in their way, or they will rob and steal from anybody, or they will brutalize anybody just for kicks.
These deceptively peaceful-looking streets in Greg Boyle's small parish, he says, are unique in that 8 different rival street gangs lay claim to them. And all the gangs are armed and prepared to defend their turf.
This is the area controlled by the East LA 13 Dukes.
East LA.
Simply crossing out a rival gang's graffiti is all it takes to start trouble.
And that's a killing offense?
Well, it's a declaration of war, and it's also intrusion in their territory. And they are very territorial.
What's up, G-Man?
Father Greg has become the intermediary between the warring gangs, all 8 of them. And he makes the rounds of the parish every day, every night, talking to gang members to try to head off any trouble that looms.
Where'd you take Dopey?
It's Friday night, and the Clarence Street locos have been drinking beer since late in the afternoon. Father Greg wants them to stay away from a rival gang's territory.
Oye, cuate. I don't want to see anybody in the project. Nobody in the project.
The warning is real. The Clarence Street locos have taken heavy casualties from enemy gangs.
I want you to get home early. Look at this.
Puppet joined the Clarence Street locos when he was 13.
Puppet, how many of your friends from Clarence Street locos have been shot since you've been in the gang?
Since I've been in it, 4 of them.
4 killed?
Yeah.
Who? Why?
When your time comes, your time comes. You can't say how long you're gonna live.
That fatalism, and a sense among gang members that they have no future, just fuels more violence, Father Greg says. And he himself has had close calls trying to prevent it. Once he thought he'd stopped 2 gangs, just as they were getting ready to fire at each other.
And I said, get the blank out of here. And they did. They stopped, turned around, and ran the other way.
Yeah.
But as I started to get out of the car, it was too late. Timing was off, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think these kids saw me, but they opened up fire, and the bullet went right into the partition that separates the front seat from the back seat. And,
In your car?
And the bullet blew open a window. And
Yeah, but you take your chances every time that you go out.
timing is everything, and I've arrived many times just when I see a kid about to shoot. I've chased kids back to their neighborhoods, and then I talk it out. I said, is that what you want to do? I mean, you really want to kill that guy?
Often, Father Greg knows who has shot whom before the cops arrive. And that's a source of some irritation to local Los Angeles police captain Bob Medina.
When he's out there riding his bicycle and walking through the streets of Pico, Aliso, or driving or doing whatever he's doing, and he knows where criminal activity is taking place, I think that he has the same responsibility as any other law-abiding citizen
To point the finger?
to bring that information to our attention in whatever manner he does without making himself a target for retaliation.
In a room filled with gang members, I asked Father Greg about that.
You won't turn in a criminal, a gang criminal. You won't.
I didn't take my vows to LAPD, you know.
You know that some of these kids, I don't say the kids in this room, but you know that gang members have shot, have killed, have sold drugs. You never tell the cops about it.
No, but I talked to the kids about it. Well, especially in the case of a murder, which is like obviously very serious. And my hope for a kid in a case like that is that he will turn himself in, take responsibility for what he's done. Beyond that, I'm not sure what else I can do, but I'm not going to go to the police and say, here he is.
But Mary Ridgway says Father Greg may be too forgiving.
There are many people I think should be put away
And he
for
doesn't.
a long period of time. He never says it to me. He
everybody's
never says it.
rehabilitatable with him.
Yes. Now, he may agree that they need to be off the streets for a while.
Yeah.
I firmly believe some of them should be off the streets forever.
Well, I don't entertain that notion. I mean, I would want to maintain, even with the toughest kid, I've seen it happen. I've seen kids turn their lives around, no matter what kind of grisly stuff they've been involved in. I've seen it happen.
Grumpy is a fella he's especially proud of. Grumpy's mother repeatedly beat and abused him before he finally left home. Father Greg found him a job and a place to live.
My family never treated me the way he treats me. So it's like, you know, if my family treated me the way, you know, he treats me, you know, I probably would have turned out better. But I guess they didn't work like that.
As bad a hand as he's been given, he's sure has played it well. In spite of everything, he should be in San Quentin. But he's not. He's a kid who I think has recently discovered who he is and is proud of it. And
What's his future?
he's working at the moment. And he shows up every day and likes his paycheck and makes him feel good. And I hope that, you know, he'll move on, you know, get an apartment and get on with his life.
And it's jobs, Father Greg says, that'll help solve some of the problems gang members are faced with.
William, job. You're not old enough?
Beyond a limited number of city jobs available to these homeboys, Father Greg has found few private employers willing to take a chance hiring them. So he's formed construction crews of homeboys to build a parish daycare center. Another crew does maintenance work around the church. All the salaries are paid out of contributions. And Father Greg prays enough checks will come in the mail every Thursday to make his payroll every Friday.
So don't make me pay you for time you didn't work.
Oh, no problem. That's the truth.
As to tell you the truth, this is a gift. This is like, the bonus is the gift.
Beyond jobs, Father Boyle has set up an alternative high school staffed by Jesuits and lay teachers for gang member dropouts.
Down. A map often shows north up.
So you were thrown out of school, and who got you to go back to school?
Well, Father Greg. I was getting kicked out of schools, and nobody wanted me, you know, so there's the only place I could come.
And do you like being here in school?
Yeah.
Because?
I'm learning something.
Why do you think he cares about you, George?
Because he loves everybody. I know. Why? God, I guess.
Is that it, Greg? God? Does God have anything to do with it?
I would imagine that God has a lot to do with this.
But without Father Boyle, fact is that almost none of these kids would be in school. And he says the rest of us could benefit from something that he's learned over the past 5 years.
What I want more than anything is for people to know what I know about these kids. And that they are human beings, and that they've got a great capacity to love and kid and just be human beings. And if people knew that, they'd do it. They'd give them a chance.
He's trying to tell us that there's another person inside of us, that, you know, we're not all just gangbangers. That we could become, you know, citizens, regular citizens.
Would you like that?
I'll be all right.
That would be all right.
Yeah.